Hello dear viewers, my name is Nino and today we're taking a closer look at the Blackview A7. This is a budget smartphone, so you're gonna be ending up paying no more than €65 for it if you live in Europe, and probably even less if you live on another continent. However, what you need to consider is that as a budget smartphone, this phone does come with a few drawbacks, which I will address a bit later. First of all, we're gonna start with the hardware. The Blackview comes with a 3G module inside. It does not support 4G or LTE in any way, which is essentially the same. It does have Android 7.0 on it. It is unlocked, so you can pretty much use any kind of SIM card in it. You can use two SIM cards at the same time in dual standby mode, and additionally add a micro SD card without having to remove one of these SIM cards, which is pretty nice. And speaking of the micro SD card, you are going to desperately need it because this phone has 8 GB of RAM, out of which around only half is available to you. So that's something to consider. We have 1 GB of RAM, a CPU which is the MTK6580A. That's a 1.3 GHz quad-core processor, and of course two cameras. In the front we have a 2 megapixel camera. At the back we have a 0.3 megapixel plus a 5.0 megapixel. Next up we have the battery capacity, which is 2800 milliamperes. But since this phone is a 5-inch phone, not a 5.5 inch, with a 720p resolution on the display, these 2800 are more than enough to satisfy a whole day's worth of work or any kind of usage. As you can see, Blackview is actually offering updates for this phone, so if there are any problems they will update it, and you will not have to do it in a manual way, although the manual update's always faster since they released the manual ones first. If we take a closer look at the settings of the device, we're going to notice that the device itself has a launcher which is a bit more colorful and reminds of an iPhone to some extent. I personally do not like that, so that's a matter of taste. If you don't like it as I don't, you can simply download a new launcher from the Play Store and replace that one with it. Next up, we're going to take a look at the actual performance of the device, and if you pay close attention, we're going to notice that we are slightly below that magical 24,000 points in Antutu. Now, some people ask me, how do you know that 24,000 points is the minimum you need to do all kinds of tasks? Well, that's personal experience. Everything below 24,000 is starting to have serious difficulties with graphically intense games and applications that are just more heavy and require more resources from the device. And being at 22.5, you are actually going to notice things such as stuttering and slowing down of the phone from time to time, no matter what you do, especially if you open multiple applications and try to multitask. That is not the device for you. Now, if you want to just browse and call somebody, write SMS, do a little bit of social networking, as you can see, it works fairly well, but as I've noticed, it isn't quite as responsive as faster phones will be. But then again, it only costs 65 bucks, so we can't expect the world from it. Since it only has 3G, it will not support the 4G faster networks, meaning that if you use this phone, you can only use up to 3G speeds. The display is something that actually surprised me. It offers quite a nice experience. It's very bright. All in all, the colors are okay. In terms of what we get here for 65 bucks, I've seen worse, so this is something that I actually found absolutely sufficient. The pictures that the cameras take are bad. The HDR makes the picture slightly brighter, but therefore even more blurry even if you don't move when you take the shot. And all in all, the pictures are just really bad. Now, when it comes to the touchscreen, this is where the phone's biggest problem is. This is a 2-point touchscreen, meaning that you'll recognize a maximum of 2 simultaneous touches. That is quite bad because if you have a third touch, what the phone does is start to go crazy and try to realize which one to go to, jump from one to another, and that can be a real problem if you're trying to write an SMS or anything else, because sometimes your fingers might cover more, or the phone might see your palms on the side and think it's a third touch and go crazy. So this is something that for me absolutely kills the phone. I still find it generally a little bit better overall than, for example, the Doogee Mix X30, although that one's slightly faster. All in all, I dislike the other one more than this one. What we're also missing here is a notification LED. You will not have that, meaning that if you miss a call or something, you need to actually turn on the screen, take a look if you have any kind of notifications. There's no LED telling you that. If you miss the sound of it, there's no other way of knowing it. When it comes to gaming performance, it actually performs quite well for a phone this slow. I was positively surprised. It does its job. If you want to give this phone to elderly people or to very young children, that's the phone for them. If you want a full-fledged smartphone, you're going to have to spend a bit more because this phone is just not gonna do for very long. That is the case. If it's for children or for elderly people, 65 bucks, you can't really go wrong with that. If they break it, you can just get another. It's not that much money. If you're interested in buying this phone, there will be a link in the description of this video. I would like to thank you for watching and hope to see you on the next video.